Good evening. My name is Corey Campbell. I'm a student at University of West Florida, and today I'm going to talk about the Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Jenkins is a uh, one of the first, if not the first, I'm not entirely sure, pipelines to implement a solution for more efficient and effective delivery of code or development of code, um, tracking every step along the way that it's developed within a big team. There are three main attack surfaces for any CI/CD pipeline, and it's pretty standard. Is the first one being the supply chain, the second being internal development, and the third being delivery of the product. And something that all three of those have as a common denominator in similar is the infrastructure that they sit upon needs to be secure as well, otherwise they themselves risk compromise. So the attack surface is actually much larger than one might expect because there's a lot of stuff happening on the back end to enable these pipelines and development processes. Some strengths of the Jenkins pipeline is that it's open source, so it can be dynamic or tailored to how the organization wants to use it. And it's also generally going to be less expensive, if not even free. Not entirely sure how the licenses work. But on the flip side, that's also bad because the adversary has equal access to under the hood um, codes and configuration files to develop their own exploits too. Um, and there's 1,800 different plugins, if not more. So you have a massive supply chain risk in that those config files or plugins could be compromised before they're ever even used. There's also no native security alerting, so you have to rely on third-party tools. So if you're hoping to get a free tool, you're probably gonna have to pay for that on your own. Um, uh, Now, some things that we can do to implement security within our pipeline is to do some testing. So we can use white box testing, black box testing, Docker containerization. So we can close a container, open containers when we're using them, and then when we close them, it makes it harder for an adversary to maintain persistence. Um, in my proposed solution, I've had difficulty with the screen share, so I apologize. I encourage you to look at the diagram in my paper and follow along with me. I propose using Apache Kafka, which isn't a revolutionary idea that's used in the industry already, but it provides a logging solution to create an audit trail for every action that occurs within a CI/CD pipeline, every push, every pull, every little thing. My idea was to implement digital signatures so that you have non-repudiation of every developer action that occurs within the pipeline. Um, it's a little similar in thinking. I got the idea from some papers that I read. You had the idea of using blockchain, but I didn't really think that blockchain would be a realistic or effective method, and I think it would be costly, difficult to develop, expensive to develop, and I'm not sure that it would be efficient either to um, check every action against itself because it's almost like a ring topology, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so the other idea I had was to use the most wonderful buzzword in the century, as I roll my eyes, artificial intelligence and machine learning. But adversaries are using it. Defenders have to use it to keep up as well. Um, but my focus wasn't on a defense necessarily for the infrastructure. Mine was more for analyzing alerts. So as those alerts are being tested on, they AI and machine learning can analyze these alerts and identify which ones are normal and which ones are just your standard misconfiguration that we already know is not malicious. And that way we can eliminate a lot of the alerts that are maybe bogging down our security assessors. Um, and maybe it'll find things that wouldn't flag otherwise. And you can, if you were able to advance this even further, you could have a third party plugin or develop your own to where um, you have a repository and the AI is just using these known CVEs or vulnerabilities and running these exploits on its own and its own testing mechanism. Um, but I think I am short on time, so uh, that concludes the Jenkins pipeline and my proposed solution. Thank you for your time. Uh, have a good evening.